Hello and welcome to the Mayor's Update.
Wow, it's Tuesday already.
Whew,
And
that
I
went by
think
fast.
this week's been full, and
Yeah.
it's only Tuesday.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
trying to get away by the end of the week on a bit of vacation with Stephanie, and so of course we're piling everything we can early into the week, like I know you do.
Oh
right?
yeah.
So,
Well,
yep.
today was packed.
Yeah.
But as the chair of the DDB, I'm running around getting checks for everybody for all the different things
Yes.
that the DDB pays for. Now, what I didn't really appreciate was how many checks Earl had to write to everybody when he was the chair of the DDB.
Right.
And
So
then
we need to get this down to where we're electronically transferring some of this.
that would be incredible.
Move into the year 2024.
I think that would be fantastic.
Right.
Yeah. But a super
What a
great
successful.
chat with the Treasury Department.
Good.
Yep, super fun, I gotta say.
Right.
So shout out to all of them in St. Thomas.
Well, see, now you're all about the Treasury Department and writing checks.
Yeah.
I'm amazed at how beautiful downtown St. Thomas looks. The flowers and flower pots
Mhm.
have never looked better. Way to go, Parks team.
Couldn't agree more.
Right. And
All the parks.
I hunted on Talbot Street for a piece of litter today, but I must
Yeah.
have been following the green team.
Well,
It was perfect, right? It
Yeah.
was like our
The summer
times in
students,
Singapore.
absolutely
Right?
fantastic.
No litter anywhere where I was on Talbot Street. Now someone's going to call and tell me they saw litter. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
And
But this is as good as downtown looks.
yeah, and I have a video. I got a video of them working away. I'm gonna post it. It's pretty funny.
Okay.
But I'm gonna probably put that up tomorrow.
Right.
For to give a shout out to how great a job they are doing in our
Well,
downtown
and
core.
we did a great job on Nostalgia Nights, being out
Mhm.
there helping us keep
Oh, yeah.
litter up that day, and it's great when you hold a. You and I said this before we went on air. You hold a great big event like Nostalgia Nights, and after the cars have all left the street, wow, it's beautiful out there. Right? I mean, we left it better than we found it.
Yeah,
pretty much. So perfect.
100% better. Yeah, because there was more garbage picked up after. So like when you can do an event like that.
Well, the next day the litter pickup would have been way less because it was done. Hey, any questions tonight? We've been getting a lot of open forum questions from viewers, so get them in early because we've been having to leave a few on the table each week, and so we'd like to make sure that we're doing that open forum thing as best we can. We've got a bunch of summer announcements, and we'll make sure that we cover all of those too. So let's start with some of those.
You know what? Let's deal with one of our sponsors right out of the gate. We're talking about events. We talked about it last week. We're going to talk about it every week till it happens. It's the Middle River Music Festival.
Perfect.
August 24th.
It was on the top of my list too. Yeah, perfect.
There we go.
August 24th at Common
Ground
Market Farm. What a great place for an outdoor music festival. So August 24th, if you have not, you can buy tickets ahead. So
$35.
If you haven't done it, get it done before, we're going to turn you away at the gate, right?
Yeah, because they'll fill up. So I just want to get that right out of the gate. Right out of the gate there.
And some other things in August, the Railway City Music and Arts Festival.
Yes.
At Pinafore Park. It's like 4 days, August 15th to the 18th. Again, they really need your help. This is another festival really trying to make big things in Pinafore Park in our city. So please, you want to mark those dates down. You want to go every day if you can. Lots of great things going on there. Last Friday night, Pinafore Park was a howling good time.
Puppy parade
last Friday night. And if you've seen the pictures on Facebook, there was a lot of puppies out there. And it was a great fundraiser. The next day was Paw Festival, fantastic. Anyway, the Saturday was also full of dogs. So great fundraisers for our new Animal Control Center. So thank you for all. But also speaking of Pinafore Park and everywhere else across town where there's a splash pad, while the weather stays this hot, we've made the splash pads 9 to 9. So 9 in the morning till 9 at night. So go let the kids get tired out in the splash pad with parents chasing them in the splash pad till 9 o'clock tonight. That's
my daughter
really good.
Loves the splash pads in St. Thomas.
And they're so safe. This is we did have the flag raising for drowning prevention week this week, but splash pads is something a lot of communities have gone to away from even the small wading pools because much safer for kids from a water point of view. That doesn't mean don't teach your kids swimming lessons.
Definitely.
So that they can learn safety too. what else we got going on? I did a neat thing this week that I did about 5 years ago, and that was thanks to Don Shaw. He and I, he needs an accessory scooter, accessibility scooter. So we got Joe one from Eurix. Thank you, Eurix, for lending me a scooter. I may have done some damage to.
What?
I went off one curb with it. And, anyway, and we toured all over St. Thomas.
The best off-road vehicle is a rental vehicle.
No, yeah, apparently. Yeah, it wasn't what I meant to do, but we had. It's really unique seeing our community from that viewpoint of someone who would need that as a way to get around town. And where's the button on the pole to change the light?
Right.
Can you drive right up to it, or do you have to do some jockeying?
I can imagine how frustrating that would be.
In some cases, and there was one, and I've reported everything I saw to our chief engineer today. And Don also had a great idea. Maybe we should send somebody from our roads or sidewalks department out on this tour too.
Right.
Because some of our sidewalks are not super, we've shaved them down if they heave because of a tree or something, but there's some more work that could be done. And funny enough, because I just done that, then I was in Mississauga on Saturday and Sunday of the weekend. And
were you judging their sidewalks?
Yeah, I was. And I went, wow, these need to be fixed way worse than St. Thomas. We're in great shape compared to what I saw there. Now, don't tell the mayor. Right? What else we got going? We got a new bar in town, Base Notes, and it's been open now. And
I've seen pictures of the cocktails; they look fantastic.
Yeah,
heard the
and
music.
That's the safest cocktail for Mayor Joe. Pictures, because I love my cocktails, and so. Speaking of cocktails, also coming up on August 9th, we're not doing these in any real order, Whiskey, Wine, and Chocolate at the Elgin County Railway Museum. So get your tickets early for that one. That one sold out last year, I believe. So for August 9th, Whiskey, Wine, and Chocolate. You put it in that order. Which way do you want it? Right? What are we talking about this week? The hospice. I've seen some great construction pictures.
Looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I got some drone shots. I'm going to pop them on established media tomorrow.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. So you're from above. This is great.
You got waterworks. You've got the hospice. It's very, very cool.
Well, I know we've caused you some grief again with some of our construction projects, and the hospice was one of them. We had to close off part of South Edgeware in order to do the servicing into the hospice site. So I believe that's all done as of today. So thank you for your patience and the construction happening in St. Thomas right now, whether it's a really deep hole on South Edgeware at Highbury or the actual piece of rebuilding Highbury, right? Or Kane Street. And I see they've poured curbs and started to put some pavement down. So we're really coming along. It's mid-July, so we're coming along on some of the projects. So really pleased with all the construction around town, and I'm more pleased with the patience of the drivers in St. Thomas as to putting up with making our city a better place, both underground and on the surface of our roads.
Yes, and also a shout out to the team in St. Thomas that helped organize the streets for Nostalgia Nights. I don't think we actually talked about that, but they did a point of moving construction vehicles and opening gates that are kind of like people might not know about, so people have access and all these things.
How to do it better off Talbot Street to be able to, like you're going to pretty much close Talbot, but you can't make it so you can't get emergency vehicles to both sides of downtown St. Thomas. So we really watch for, as we plan special events, we have the police and the fire and all of them at the special events committee. Yeah. Because I did have someone say, well, you've got Kane Street closed down. What would happen? I said, well, Curtis Street is still open. Center Street's open on the other side. The back parking lots also aid in traffic if there needed to be. And it was a smooth day for moving a lot of people in the downtown of St. Thomas, including a train going out every hour. So,
no way.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So Lily's commented, my daughter Lily,
excellent,
through her mother, Jess, my wife. Right. And she says she really does love splash pads.
Well, we just said that. So, Lily, we do it just for you.
That's right.
I was having a conversation with a citizen on the street today saying, where's the next splash pad? Now we have Waterworks, One Password, and Pinafore. And she asked for one at Optimus Park in that subdivision. And I said, let's start talking about this, because that is the next thing, is to start planning. Can we put one in an existing park where we would get a good draw? Or is this, as we develop new parts in the new parts of St. Thomas, another way to design where splash pads need to go in, even as the houses are? So,
and Horton Market, Jess is also mentioning, Jess Andrews, that the Wednesday market is happening at Horton Farmers Market tomorrow, 4:30 to 7:30.
I'm crossing off that on my list because we're going to get to that later. Wednesday, look, we had a lot of market visitors, and we still do every Saturday. They love our market. And they asked us, could you do a one day of the week evening market? So we've picked Wednesday, and it's been going quite well, and it's growing, right? Now, if it didn't rain every Wednesday night, we wouldn't know it was Wednesday, right? But thank you for bringing up Wednesday market. Want to do it, right?
A comment from Doug Exner. He says, I was unfortunately down in Port Stanley 4 years ago when those people drowned. I tried telling them it wasn't safe, but they did not listen.
Right.
I'd like to make a suggestion about water safety there. Not sure if the undertow is usually in the same places, but maybe they could put up barriers in those places on the beach so we don't have any more unfortunate incidents with more drownings. Well, Doug, we've actually got a video that we're producing. We're going to be shooting it tomorrow to talk about a bunch of that stuff. And one of the main things is that the danger is around rip currents.
Yeah, where rip tides are. They're not really a tide or rip currents now in a Great Lake. And you can kind of see them from above, but they're hard to see if you're on the beach. You can see where breakers are happening, but you're absolutely right. That shoreline can just get vicious. And if it's got big waves, you're in danger. I mean, you truly are. Strong swimmer or not. I played water polo when I was younger, so I've considered myself a strong swimmer, and I'm extra buoyant now. But just be careful with natural water, especially as you say. I'm anxious to see what you send a drone up. You can see the rip currents.
That's right? The plan. Yeah. So we've got some plans in place to kind of create a video to help spread the word about it. And honestly, I feel in a lot of ways like it's not necessarily the people that are around here locally so much, because growing up, I always heard about it.
Right.
Whereas, when you have families that come from London or Toronto, other places, and they're not aware of it, even though there are signs up.
Right. A red flag means something. A sign up means something. Please pay attention. And Doug, thank you you said in your case, you told people, but they don't always listen. Right. And the lifeguards can't individually go to each person and say, hey, don't go in. The water is not safe today. Or it's not safe if you're not a strong swimmer. Well, macho guy says, I'm a strong swimmer. I can go. So thank you. It's great that we're doing a piece of this in Drowning Prevention Week. Right, that we do talk about. We're surrounded by the natural beauty of the Great Lakes here in Southern Ontario, and we want to make sure that we're doing as much teaching of kids. Swimming lessons is a fantastic way to go, but also teaching the common sense of when to enter water and when not to.
Yeah, and be very careful.
So
we're going to talk to the experts. We'll bring that information, and then if you can share it out and help more people know about it.
Well, I'm anxious to see the film. You're just doing everything.
Speaking of films, another one we should get people to watch is the St. Thomas Police Services video about the collaborative approach.
Did you see that this week? The collaborative approach to homelessness in our community. Our police, our special constables, the CMHA, our social services, and our housing people, and Brian at the Inn, who we've had on our show. Right, the collaborative approach of all of those people working together to, first of all, establish people in need. If they need housing, or if they are exhibiting homelessness or without housing, then the whole team, not just one, not just two, but 6 or 7 different organizations. And of course, I didn't mention the YWCA and the work they do, and the Youth for Christ, who do our youth protocol.
And also, Indwell as well.
And Indwell also.
And there are all these additional services.
And this is maybe the difference to St. Thomas being a bit successful in homelessness compared to other communities. Happy to work together with all those that want. You want to help? Want to help. Salvation Army's out every Monday night serving meals at the at the corner of Moore Street. All of the different food pieces, including our food bank. So just a great team to work together.
Yeah, and we often get a lot of questions about why isn't anyone doing anything, and the reality is there are a lot of people doing things, and these are some of the people. So if you take a look at that video, I just posted it before we went live. You can see some of the faces and hear about what those people are doing.
Right,
which is it makes all the difference in our community.
And great job on the video. It really is a great. It's a great tribute to us. I think we'll use this as we visit other places to talk about how we're dealing with housing and homelessness.
And a huge shout out has to go to Samantha Wakefield, because she helped put that whole narrative together.
Well, she's an expert in her own life, right? of doing some of that stuff too.
Yes, absolutely. Brett Longfield says, when and how will the public have opportunity to contribute to the new Central Park anchoring the core of St. Thomas on the rail lands as surrounding parcels become better used for mixed and intensified land uses as part of the secondary plan required by the provincial policy statement?
Absolutely. That's when the secondary plan starts, people will get to do input into it. The owners of the property has now been decided. Doug Terry has purchased a great deal of the land there, but there's other owners surrounding the railway lands. And so we'll be starting the secondary plan process. The city of St. Thomas will help the owners of the land have that discussion. So coming soon, as we stated over and over and over again, we're going to touch this thing about 100 times. And so the next thing is the secondary plan, where we talk to all of the owners of property around it and the neighboring communities around that as to what they would like to see in it. What's the density of housing that can go on that land, because housing is needed, but how much parkland, what will the parkland look like? How will the Queso Station and the Railway Museum also function in that area? They're both great draws and great tourism draws for us, so we'll keep doing that. We'll just we'll get all the input we possibly can.
Very good.
Yeah.
I should also mention the Beehive this week,
which
is all about the pumping station. So they're excavating down where that other pumping station is for the expansion.
Right.
And this is where the Gorman Rock pumps are going to go
in.
Those
big, huge pumps we talked about that we bought a while ago. Yeah. And now they're getting hooked up to pipes. And those pipes will soon get hooked up to water. And boy, will they pump a lot of water.
Oh, my goodness.
Right. To up the water pressure on the Yarmouth Yard site. So that's what that whole pumping thing is about, using a local product out of St. Thomas from Gorman Rock.
Love it.
Right? Can't go wrong there.
And then speaking of pipes, we're also talking with the folks that are putting in the drainage for the place. And they have like 8-foot high pipes that are cement pipes.
Well, if you saw the rain we got last week.
Oh, did I ever?
I was down to Toronto this weekend, where they're still dealing with trying to get rid of some of that water.
Yeah.
Right. But here in St. Thomas, we drained off pretty well, and through our system, it's a tax on the system when there's that much at once.
Well, I heard you make some comments about how well we were doing in relation to some of the communities around us at council last week.
Well, it is true. We've come up with. We've tried to separate storm management pipes from sewer management pipes. Always on purpose. Well, and because otherwise you get a storm like we had, and it just has to go straight out into the creek.
You have effluent.
Instead of, right. So we have less overflows because we're capable of handling it. And we spent the money now rather than when might you? So I heard listening to Toronto radio today, and they were saying, okay, we've had the storm. What are we doing to prevent all that stuff from happening the next time there's a storm? Well, I'm sorry. We don't have to talk about what we're doing to make it not be bad here. We've got some great stuff in place, more to do, of course, but we're already doing it. We've set forward and are taking care of it. So.
Well, I was living in Toronto one year when the Don Valley flooded.
Yeah.
And there was a GO train that was coming down the Don Valley tracks, and it got flooded. Right. So they had to bring all these emergency vehicles in.
That happened again with the storm last week, right? So the cars stuck on the Don Valley in a taller than a car worth of water.
100%. Yeah.
We had some flooded streets. We had some trees knocked down. Thank you again, Parks Department, getting out there and helping people chop up those trees, even some of them on private property or privately owned trees. But look, we work together as a community as fast as we can to help solve some of what's happening. Speaking of trees in the park,
Oh, yes.
Friday night, movies in the park.
Yeah.
Right? Well, I want to thank the Icebox people who run the concessions in our arenas and in the parks, and 1Password, and also at the Doug Terry Ball Complex. But he's been running movies in the park on Friday nights. And I know we've been doing music in the park on Sunday nights, but it's SpongeBob and SpongeBob on the Run on Friday, and it was great last week, having to do with the puppy parade night.
Paw Patrol. Pups.
Yeah. Right. So way to put it together and talk about fun in the. It's nice outside. Go out and watch a movie. And somebody said to me, it's like asking you when do the fireworks go off? When does the movie happen? Yeah, at dark. I mean, it's got to get kind of dark for us to be able to see the movie in the park. So that's what that one is about. Thank you. We know we mentioned the hospice before too, right? But let's not give up on the fundraising side of the hospice. Still lots to be done there too. And I wanted to make sure that we mentioned that.
Sean Barker says, well, since the flooding came, is there going to be a rain tax in the future, since it is the topic on News Talk 1010?
Well, that's Toronto, and I'm sure they can. That city could find a way to tax a sunny day too.
Oh my goodness!
Right?
Yeah.
And they've got a lot of people living there, so I suppose they get away with it. Look, we'll just plan forward to make sure that our servicing is at the state of the size of our community and the weather events that might happen. Look, I'm not going to predict we'll never have an issue here. Of course, we have to plan going forward on the size of our community, the size of pipes. But as you said, as you saw out there, how big the pipes can be if you want to be able to drain rainwater off versus wastewater off. So, I don't see a rain tax for the city of St. Thomas.
Very good. Doug Exner is saying the Waterworks Dam could use some work. It's looking like it's going to give way any day. Now, Doug, is that something that you saw recently, or was it a week ago? Because I know there was a bunch of work that was done on it.
Last week they were doing work on it. So if we, I haven't been out to check the work because we have good experts who take care of that kind of stuff. But there is dam logs, and that's DAM. Right? That go in to be the blocking of the water, and they were replacing some of those logs last week. And I don't know where the project is or how well it's done. Somebody knows. Come on and tell us.
Brett Longfield says, what is the status of the future for the auto industry in St. Thomas amidst changes to neighboring plans for electric vehicle production? I think he's talking about in Oakville. They've apparently switched over production from electric vehicles to...
That leaves more electric vehicles for us. But look, we've got a lot of automotive industry in our community that isn't just based on what PowerCo will do with EV batteries. Hold up battery now. No. But when you take all the format and the other industries that are still in town doing real automotive work also for other industries. So Ford wants to build stuff in Oakville. Fantastic. We'll be happy to supply them with frames, bumpers, or whatever it is they need. All right. We'll be able to do that still out of St. Thomas, and happy to do it.
Dale Cummings is wondering if City Council can lend him $1 million. He's just wondering.
Oh, yeah. Well, I used to tell this story a lot as the member of parliament. I had a lot of people come into my office and say, I'm working on this new truck or this new engine or whatever it is. And if you could find me $1 million, I'd have a company worth $1 million. And I went, well, okay. How about you convince a bank of that, and then we'll know you've got a right idea. So a little more, net worth statement from Dale might be before we lend him the $1 million. All right.
Let's see that proposal.
No, it's okay. We're not saying no. We're not saying no. You tell us what you need it for and how you plan on paying it back, and we'll have a look.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Some we won't look too hard.
Yeah. But we've talked about some of the nearer events. Let's talk about some of the ones we're already planning for. So we were at the meeting for Oktoberfest on Friday. So I know it's coming up fast. It's September 21st, I believe.
That's right. And that Saturday, in the third Saturday, fourth Saturday in September, is typical Oktoberfest in Munich.
Yeah.
Right. And so we're having our Oktoberfest that day. And what a neat amount of planning going into it. Right.
Yeah. And it's going to happen already. So mark down September 21st in your calendars, because again, we're going to close down a small part of the downtown. So
Right.
where the Moore Street area is,
right.
We're kind of like we're calling
So
it the
from
Parkette
John Street to St. Catherine
Yep.
Street, it's not that far, but
We're gonna have
and
a
on either
stage
ends
up
of
there.
that, you can still get into Legends. You can still get into Angry Bear, get your hair cut if you had to. I mean, you'll still be able to do it, but I'm going to have some neat things on the street. Also,
Yes, we're gonna have vendors inside. We're gonna have a lot of food as well. So I believe we're looking.
Can't have Oktoberfest without food, but there might also be beverages.
Many beverages.
Oh yes, we have to tap the kegs as part of the ceremony.
Yes,
for Oktoberfest,
and they might even do 2 keg tappings.
Oh no, we're going to try and make this a whole day worth of festivities. Last year it rained most of the day, and we did, but by later at night it turned into a party.
Yeah,
right?
The sun came out. We had a blast.
Right, so we'd like to start the party very early this year and have it go on all night. So that would be just perfect. Right.
Absolutely. So yeah, I want to get that on the list. We'll jump to some more questions here. Brett Longfield, how will tax reform in support of land value tax instead of the current property tax system solve the challenges municipalities are inundated with regarding the funding of exponentially increasing costs of services and critical infrastructure?
Well, we're doing pretty good on critical infrastructure using the tax base we have. There's been no decision on how we might change the tax base in the community. All municipalities across Canada currently fund themselves by taxing houses, businesses, and commercials, right? And industry. And that money comes back to the municipality to do things like build roads and wastewater plants. And in my conversations in the last month or so about other communities, we've been saying right now we're kind of okay with that. We'd love there to be a different funding model, but I haven't heard one yet that is perfect, and I don't like the one we have isn't perfect. So if we get a combination of another way of funding municipalities, I'm anxious to hear it, and I'm anxious to share it with the people of St. Thomas as a better way to spend their money. But certainly you'll have a pretty good number of people in St. Thomas saying my taxes have not gone up better than 2.5% or 3% in the last 5 years, and way under inflation. And yet we've been able to offer a great deal more service and servicing in St. Thomas, especially if you go out and plan industrial growth, because those large industries over time will pay back a huge amount of taxes to our community. Maybe other communities aren't doing the same thing, and they may be faced with a different way of not having money to do roads and bridges. And we think we're planning properly by looking out that far, right?
Absolutely. And there's some people putting some numbers out on St. Thomas happenings, I think this week about the different revenue and whatnot. But regardless of that, the reality is, as you're saying,
plan properly, your revenue will match what you're spending. And, it's like what you need to do in your home, what you need to do if you're a business person. I plan my business to grow, and I'm going to have to spend this money for it to grow. I plan our community to grow. And this council's been looking at it saying then that means that it'll be this much more roads, this much more industrial land, this much more parks, this much more, all of the things that come into a community. So, don't spend what you don't have, may be a better way to put it.
It's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Doug Exner, he's referring back to Oktoberfest. He's going to bring his lederhosen
and beer stein. The mayor has ordered his lederhosen too.
Have you? Because we were looking at that on Friday at the meeting.
I'm waiting for them to come in to see if they meet my high quality standard. But
of course.
Right, yes.
Of course. Nothing but the best.
Hey, if you're going to do German, you might as well do lederhosen. Right?
Well, yeah. And we were there all day last year, and we're going to be there all day this year coming up as well, because it's a fantastic event. So the person was asking that, yes, we're going to be there. Brett Longfield is asking, the land value tax is objectively in the interest of all political ideologies. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's one way to collect taxes. Municipalities cannot run a deficit like the other levels of government can. So we can easily plan what's coming from the houses, businesses, and industry in our community by basing our mill rate and saying, okay, it's going up by 2.5% this year. Okay, that's our revenue. And we can look at last year's spending and say, we've got last year's revenue plus this. So what does it mean? Some more police, some more fire, a new fire truck, a couple of bridges, some more construction.
Mhm.
But it takes that exact planning in order to not overspend and not get to the point where you have to raise taxes 8.5%. Like I forget the name of the town just north of us.
North St. Thomas?
Yeah, North St. Thomas. Yeah. That's,
Sean Barker says, want to teach that to the feds and the provincial leaders?
Pardon?
Want to teach that to the feds and the provincial leaders?
Well, of course we do. I mean, and that's, you saw our successes here in St. Thomas by having all three levels of government actually participating on things together. It's been
incredible.
Right. And we'll continue to do that. I had conversations this week with a couple different ministries from the provincial government. Again, if we can continue to work together instead of against each other, this really works out well for municipalities. I can only share with the people of St. Thomas, that's good for you. It may not be good in another municipality right now because they want to blame it on the province or the feds instead of working together with them to make big things happen.
Absolutely. Dale Cummings says, you guys still in St. Thomas happenings? You haven't been kicked out yet?
No, we apparently have not.
Somehow. I was kicked out the one time, but then they brought me back. So.
Okay, I've never been kicked out, but I don't play a lot. I read it for what other people are thinking in town. And we've had Malcolm on here to talk about St. Thomas happenings. There's some great ways to get news about St. Thomas in and out using St. Thomas happenings. So, I don't fight it too much.
Yep. And on that note, I just heard the bell going in City Hall's clock tower.
Which means we've hit our to be that time.
We've hit our limit
maybe
here.
Maybe a minute left, right? So we're almost.
Well, we're past our time actually. Technically,
did we start? We started a bit early, so yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we started right on time. We started right on time. So we're at 31 minutes and 59 seconds.
Right.
Now we're at 32 minutes.
Okay, so now we better say goodbye. We love you all.
Yeah.
Can we sing?
I can't
Happy
sing.
Trails
no
to
one
you,
wants to
like
hear. No one wants to
Rogers?
hear me sing. Nope. That's not happening.
All right, we're going to sign out and get the heck out of here.
All right, everyone. Have a great night. Thanks for joining us.
See you next Tuesday.